In an email, Michael asked me what recommendations I would make regarding learning management systems. And I thought that was a really good question, and it's something that I thought I'd share my response with the rest of the class. Now, back in the late 90s, Worcester State University was one of the very first partners with Blackboard for widespread adoption of their learning management system. At the time, there were other learning management systems available. We used something called Course in a Box for a couple of years, and we had a number of faculty using Microsoft FrontPage as their course authoring platform, and even some institutions were using Microsoft SharePoint, which is a free content management system. We went with Blackboard for a couple of reasons. One was that it integrated a wide range of resources under a single user interface, but perhaps more importantly, Blackboard offered to host the learning management system on their servers. What we did was a very careful calculus. We looked at the cost of Blackboard licensing, which was very reasonable, but then we also looked at hardware cost, the cost of the servers on which it would run, not terribly expensive, and we'd probably get a 3 to 4 year life cycle out of them. And then what we look at is labor and support costs, and that's where the equations start to fall apart. Now, at an institution like Worcester State, like most other businesses and most other colleges and universities, we actually have a fairly small staff for technology support. In order for Blackboard to have the high reliability and accessibility expected with an enterprise learning management system, we would have to allocate the labor of 1.5 full-time employees just to Blackboard maintenance and support. And then we would also probably have to increase that number during the periodic times throughout the year in which the Blackboard learning management system had to be patched or upgraded. And that we would need labor as well to deal with testing before we rolled patches out into a live environment. So what that told me was something really important. If we're going to run Blackboard locally, we would need a lot of people at a high salary cost who would be focusing on a relatively limited platform of applications for their work. We would need to run 2 instances of Blackboard, a live production version, as well as a pilot test version in which we can test things out without bringing down the live version that's being used for teaching. We measured the cost. We looked at the standardization of its technologies and its interfaces, so we decided to go with Blackboard. Now, there were other commercial learning management systems available, some of which at lower costs, but again, Blackboard seemed to have the highest amount of system integrations available at the time, and it still is a leader in terms of connecting a learning management system with an organization's infrastructure, such as email, login, authentication, things like that. Now, there are open source applications like Moodle that many colleges and universities use to deliver online content. In the Worcester, Massachusetts area, both Clark University and Anna Maria rely on Moodle. As open source, institutions don't have to pay a licensing fee. But the downside is that the amount of money saved on licensing are more than balanced out by the need to develop an in-house environment or to hire staff, employees that maintain that environment. So it becomes net neutral in a lot of ways. It is possible to manage a learning management system in-house with a minimal number of employees, but you're running a significant risk. And if your learning management system is able to run without hiccups, fine. That's no problem. Everyone's happy. But as soon as it goes down because of patching, or if it fails because of any number of reasons, then learning based on that system comes to a halt. So we'll talk more going forward in the future. Right now, I think for enterprise critical applications, I tend to lean much more heavily towards a commercial provider like Blackboard who can host, maintain, and develop the environment for me, and then I can use my limited on-site resources for faculty development. Take care.